Way, did you catch any UFC over the weekend?
Only maybe some highlights on X. That's about it. I don't have access to Paramount, so I did not.
You didn't buy this on pay-per-view.
I did not. No.
Did you see a lot of what was sort of the vibe you got of this event? Like coverage that you saw of it? I mean, it's a giant event. I mean, it got a lot of it got a ton of attention. We don't have a number yet. I imagine Paramount will put something out in the next week, but this certainly garnered a ton of attention on Sunday night.
Yeah. I've seen some of it. I mean, I feel like from a lot of the people that watched it, positive in terms of just their reaction to perhaps the production itself. Like I think even maybe critics of it could say the production was actually really strong. And I mean, listening to a bit of your review, seems like the sort of like what you might consider like the propaganda element of the show were maybe a little bit lower than people's expectations going in.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of those events where I think it really crossed over in the sense like I had this like family get together tonight, and I had like my in-laws asking me about this, and not just was there a UFC fight on the White House lawn, but asking me about if Eric Trump had tried to get insider information, the Alex Pereira assault charges, which I imagine, to be honest, like more people in Canada are probably aware of that story because of CBC covering it over the weekend than I have seen on a lot of like MMA sites and stuff that have, for whatever reason, there has been very little coverage of that story involving Alex Pereira that we can get into in a minute. The other, I think that there are many ways that you can view this show. I think as a production, like it was really like, it was very much unprecedented, I think, in the UFC's history. Like even comparing this to the Sphere event, what they pulled off, it was incredible, but it was also impossible to just watch it without think of that first WWE show in Saudi Arabia under this deal. And this was that times infinity because it was nonstop and you just are sort of just watching. And yeah, there's a Department of War ad and there are, there's all of this political messaging and all of these right-wing adjacent sponsors that are presented here and the fawning over Donald Trump. And honestly, for a lot of MMA fans, it probably didn't even feel like, other than the setting itself of the White House, probably didn't feel that strange compared to when Donald Trump shows up at these events. Only this time it was the UFC showing up at his residence. Obviously, Josh Hokett, I think, has gotten the most criticism of this show. That if you take that out, I'm sure there would still be a lot of criticism of this event. But that line that he used about Michelle Obama was the ammunition for all of the places that were negative about this event to start with, that just made this, it was such an embarrassing moment. And I did go back today to see if this was still up on Paramount, because some people had suggested they had edited this out. As of this afternoon, this was still up, this speech. So for whatever reason, people had thought this might have been edited off the broadcast, but it was still there this afternoon. And yes, he referred to Michelle Obama as a man. And I mean, this was like, I would be curious if like there would be any differentiating opinions if you take something like this out. You probably would have found your complaint somewhere else, but this was such a lightning rod, this moment, that sort of overrode even people that were begrudgingly watching this, that could look at like, this was quite the achievement in terms of a live event production.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure there were some people that might have laughed at it and maybe even like celebrated it as some form of like, I don't know, insult, towards the other side. But I would say I think the UFC should be embarrassed by something like this. And at least it was nice to see Dana denounce it. He did, but
it's sort of I don't agree with this. It's really nasty, but nothing's going to be done about this either. And it's one that is Josh Hokett going to face any, forget any kind of like sanctioning, but like Is this going to affect like him being booked in his next fight? Probably not. Like
I don't think there's anything you can say that would affect your, like, because they painted themselves into a corner as being the sort of upholders of free speech, no matter how nasty the speech may be.
Now, the other side of the coin would be if you were somebody that was just disgusted by this, another fighter on the card, would you feel your free speech to just use your time and condemn this? Would Joe Rogan feel like this would be my position to scold him here? It's like the free speech, it kind of goes towards like this kind of language. But when it comes to like a contradictory opinion or something like that, all these people are just going to be silent on this same platform as well.
You're saying if I feel Rogan or any other fighter would have said, I disagree with what this guy said,
you would never hear that from any of these people.
I mean, Dana himself did, though.
I think that Dana is at the same time. I mean, you don't approve of this, but in many ways you do, based on your actions here. Like, you give this guy a mic. This is not the first time with this guy. You do the same with Sean Strickland. You promote it as part of Sean Strickland's character. So, like, it's nice he put out a statement, but it's kind of like you do endorse this. Like, this happens all the time. This is not a isolated incident from this particular guy, and he'll probably do it again. And they can say the same thing again and again. It's not like there's anything to deter any of these fighters from saying the same thing.
Sure. Right.
Beyond that, I mean, we did do a whole 90-minute show today, so I do encourage people to check that out. It's on the Post Wrestling Cafe. I was really happy with this show with Neil Flanagan and Jack Wannon, where we did a big discussion on kind of what the show represented and a lot of the stuff outside of the cage. We also did dedicate time to go through all of the 7 fights as well, so whatever your interest is, I think our audience will want to hear kind of like a full view of everything connected to this event. And we did put a sample of this show. The first half hour is up on the free feed if you want to hear a sample of the three of us as well. It was a really interesting discussion coming from different viewpoints and getting Neil Flanagan to swoop in and watch a 5-hour event on a Sunday night his time.
Great job by the three of you. At least, in talking about everything surrounding the event, not just the fights themselves. So really appreciate it.
The month of June on the Post Wrestling Cafe is going to feature 2 editions of Rewind Away. Already in your feeds is a retrospective on the career of Manami Toyota. Plus, we are discussing WWE's WrestleMania 33 event from 2017, highlighted by the return of the Hardys, John Cena gets down on one knee, and Roman Reigns attempts to retire The Undertaker. Plus, we have coverage this month of New Japan's Dominion card. It's an Ask Away mailbag show as we take all of your questions. I will be sitting down to chat about UFC Freedom 250 with Neil Flanagan, and so much more. All of that can be yours at postwrestlingcafe.com.